Hey!
I didn't know you were gonna be here. Come play with me. Come on, the game's over here. Hurry up before we miss him. Come play Two Forks and an Anthill.
What does 2 forks and an anthill even mean anyway?
We got 5 minutes in and we're
Oh my
recording.
god. How did neither of us notice that?
I don't know.
Wow. We just lost everything with Riker coming in being cute. Well, welcome to Two Forks and an Anthill, where we disappoint ourselves.
I'm Disappointment Haley.
I'm Disappointment Maddie.
And welcome to our disappointment of a show. We talked about narcissism in the last try. How did we not notice we weren't recording?
I don't know. Because we're just in such great conversation. That's how. Now you're paranoid, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like watching the levels.
Anyway, so today's episode, we're going to talk about how we became friends.
And how we've reached this level of disappointment in ourselves. I'm so upset about that.
Yeah, no, because that was pretty good. Anyway, whatever. It's fine.
So, to start off, we got a lot to cover, so we're going to skip the small talk, which there's going to be a lot into it.
Yes.
And we're going to narcissistically explain why we think you would like to listen to the story of how we became friends. Hi, Rai.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Got this.
Oh, he put a heart around it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
Riker,
beautiful.
come say hi.
Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe.
Introduce yourself.
Hi.
Thank you, Riker, for those beautiful
Maybe
words.
on the next video, you guys can do like one of the next time like I broke my arm last time.
We should interview you about how you
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have to bring
Sup,
another
cute
mic.
girl?
Oh, you
Hey, Coop.
unlock the door.
Do you want to say? Oh, now we got
Oh,
all
my
three
brothers.
brothers.
Don't hit him in the no square.
Don't touch my no score. This is my no score.
Oh, hi, Brooke.
So we have all my brothers in the room and my dog as we're trying to record this
Why
podcast.
is everyone doing?
Everybody say hi.
Yes. Do you want to
Hi.
introduce yourself?
Hi.
Griffin? Come. Hey, guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome to Two Forks and an Anthill. We've tried to do this twice now. The first time, Haley wasn't recording herself. The second time, all three brothers and the dog decided to storm into the room.
And this time, who knows what will happen?
I hear rustling in the hallway, and I'm very nervous.
Me too.
It's probably just a ghost. It's okay.
Because it doesn't even latch. My door doesn't even latch. I grew up as a teenage girl in a house full of guys with a door that doesn't even latch. Do you know how many times my brother's friends have accidentally walked in on me changing?
Dude, Riker walked in on me butt ass naked when I was living here. He just walked in, and I'm standing there like I was whitening my teeth, so I had
Wait.
this big ass mouth guard in.
Disclaimer: my brother's 8 years old. Riker is 8.
So I'm just standing there, fully naked, and I just go, and I grab the towel, and as soon as I rip the towel off this door, he whips his head around. He goes, "Oh no!" and he runs. And like I can't say anything because my mouth is full with my retainer guard thing, and I'm just. And I go out, I like wrap this towel around me, and like I was worried that he was like embarrassed or something because he just walked in on me butt ass, like fully, like no, like fully nude,
After a shower.
like bathing, like birthday suit. nude.
Like as I was birthed. Nude.
So
Naked.
yeah, naked. So I wrap this towel around me, and I'm like, Riker, like it's okay, like it's okay. Just like please try to knock next time, cause like it's not just your sister. That's like I'm here too now. So I like, and he's like, oh, I just wanted to play video games, and he walks past me, still in my towel, plops down on Haley's bed, and starts like trying to turn on video games, and I'm like, can you give me like 5 minutes? And then I was paranoid to get dressed, so I was just standing there in my towel.
Like, I'll come get you, son.
Yeah, I mean, I should have just gone. This is when I learned that you need to change in the bathroom at this house.
It's the only door that works.
So,
And at that point,
stalker, if you come in, just
try to get past the fucking bathroom door.
exactly.
If it's very easy, if you just turn it hard enough.
Anyway.
So, welcome back from our technical difficulties. That is my brother's.
Yes. I don't know how technical it is.
Technically,
It's a technical difficulty.
they're something we cannot control. So,
They're technically difficulties.
technically, they're difficulties.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about our friendship. How
Yep.
we became friends because we're narcissistic and we think that people
Everybody wants
care.
to know.
Exactly.
You know what? Actually, I'm not going to talk down upon ourselves like that. Our friendship story is amazing, better than Romeo and Juliet, across the star lovers that become best friends.
You can't admit that we're lovers, Haley. We've been denying it all these years.
I'm not gonna just sit there and let you disassemble what our friendship is, okay? It's important that people know that we are the best friends to ever walk.
We are better than any other set of best friends.
Name a more dynamic duo. I'll
Oh,
fucking wait. That's right,
Exactly.
you can't.
We started with soggy shoes and now we're here.
Talking into a mic, honestly.
How did we get here?
Impressive.
And very impressive that we're still alive today.
As you will learn from our many stories.
Yes.
So,
So,
let's calm down.
let's get it. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Like Cooper did in the creek.
Yes. So, we met when we were 11.
Yeah.
Is that what
I
we
think
came to
11.
the conclusion of? Yeah, so we met when we were 11, and she was friends with my friend at the time.
Yeah. So we were in the same friend circle as you are in 11.
Yes. And I always used to go to this park near my house, which was actually in Haley's neighborhood. And we were hanging out, and we were walking around in the creek, I think looking for crayfish. Honestly, I think that's what it was.
Exactly. We were the only two in the creek. They weren't in the creek.
Which just says a lot about our friendship.
I think we just
We had a
jumped
really
in.
strong start.
Yep. And all
Yeah,
of a
because they were
sudden,
like, why are you in the water looking for little, like, lobster dews? Like, what are you doing?
and much like the beginning of this episode, my brother just burst through the park, coming in unannounced.
He was 5.
Yeah, he was. Where was my mom? Or dad?
I mean,
So, and he basically,
fucking catapults these shoes into the water. And we're both just like,
and I was
okay.
like, those are my shoes. And he was like, oh, really? What about these? And he launched those in, and
And
you
they
were
were
like,
mine.
those are mine.
So we had to squeak squawk right back to your house. the entire
Barefoot
way.
through the neighborhood,
Stepped
cutting our
on-
feet up because of pine needles.
Why are pine needles... Why do they stab into your foot? They're horizontal on the ground.
I don't know.
Like, I don't understand. How do they become vertical to stab into your foot?
Because you're stingray shuffling. You're shuffling on the ground.
Just dragging my feet on
Yes,
the concrete.
That's what it is.
They're bleeding all over the place. I'm like, hi, I'm Maddie. Nice to meet you. We were always kind of in, like, the same friend circle. And then,
We had the same homeroom, 7th grade.
which I don't remember. Not gonna lie.
No, I was in there for like a week.
You were?
Yeah. And I just remember Miss homeroom and her just being like, Madison Foster? And you were like, here. And she was like, is there another nickname you'd like to go by? And you were like, yeah, Maddie. And she was like, how do you spell it? And you were like, guess. I
That
want to
was my
see
favorite
you
thing to do.
try.
Because no one ever guessed how to spell my name right.
That's weird.
Ever.
M-A-D-I.
Yeah, but it's short for Madison. Like, it's not that complicated, people. Like, why are you adding in D-D-I-E? It's just M-A-D-I-S-O-N.
Yeah.
Like, it is the most logical... Anyway,
I
love how you
And I was
remember
like, what a badass bitch. That is an outspoken one. She demands a lot from others right there. And then I transferred out to being girls ensemble, so I got out of taking Spanish as well.
love that.
So we always ran in the same friend group, and I remember Delaney was trying to get us to be friends for so freaking long.
Yeah, and we were both just like,
We're like, yeah, they're cool or whatever.
Literally, we just, like, never talked.
Yeah, and my first impression with you was like, I was not intimidated, but I was kind of like, there's no way I'm going to mesh with this girl.
Because we started getting closer, like, junior year.
I remember we were hanging out with Delaney, and we were walking down the street, and we got catcalled. And me and you, being the smart bitches that we are, deadass sprint
Yep.
after this group van of multiple guys
Yep.
that just catcalled us on the street.
Yep. We were
Delaney-
also like
14,
something like
14, 15. And Delaney's like, you guys don't know what's on the other side of that van. What are you guys doing? And we're like, fuck
that. It
you.
doesn't matter.
You have to respect us. Don't fucking cat. You want to catcall me?
I probably had like bright red hair at the time.
Yep.
Scene bangs. Bangs out to my temples.
Really, they were probably just calling us fucking losers.
Literally. We just heard yelling. We're like, come at me, bro.
Say it
What you
to my
want? What you
face.
want? I listen to Screamo. Come at me, dog.
I got 4 brothers. Say it to my face. Meanwhile, that's the last time I was ever catcalled. Last time I was ever hit on. And honestly, they were probably making fun of us.
Yeah. Now that we think about it, there was no way that they were calling us attractive because I know I was ugly. What's up with 14-year-olds now? They look like they're 20 and I am offended. Excuse me.
I'm more offended.
Please wear some rainbow shit. Please wear some sparkles.
I'm more offended right now, the fact that 13 and 14-year-olds look older, because now I'm mistaken as a 13 and 14-year-old.
The roles have reversed.
And
I don't
still
appreciate it.
hurts.
It does. Why am I just always the one that's getting the short end of the stick, huh? I just want to know. I'm asking for a friend, and the friend is Haley.
I can't tell you, dude. They think I'm young, too, so.
Yeah, but you're not 5 feet tall.
Yeah, that's right. I'm 5'3". Bitch. Yeah, shorty.
Yes, Jody, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like you are 12.
And that involves Kool-Aid. Anyways, back to our friendship. Because you guys are so interested.
We just like don't care. I think that's like the first thing that we bonded over is we just don't care about how people see us in public.
At all.
Like at all. Like
Mm-mm.
genuinely at all. And I feel like when we were running after the people who just quote unquote catcalled us.
They yelled at the window something. I can't remember if it was cat. I remember looking at you and I'm like, did we just? And Delaney was like, yeah, they just catcalled us, like not even caring. And we're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Delaney, the fucking 5'7" karate ass bitch that has a 5th degree black belt, was like, don't worry about it. Us.
Don't worry about sweetheart.
You don't even know what I have in my back pocket, okay? Where'd y'all go?
Oh boy. But yeah, so we don't care. And like after this, I feel like the few times that we hung out before like we got super close, like we would do gore makeup.
Mm-hmm. And
And
go
then-
out in public.
Yeah.
Like
I-
the first time we actually hung out, which is after we got catcalled, we were doing gore makeup out of nowhere with Delaney, and then somebody was like, let's go to Greens, which we couldn't drive, I don't think. So how do we get to Greens?
Who dropped us off with like it was
Who took
Elmer's
us?
glue, tissue,
And,
and
like
red
choreo, like,
food
yeah.
day.
Da. But how did we get there?
I don't know.
I don't think we could drive at this point.
No, we definitely couldn't.
How did we get there?
It's probably like VJ. But it was only us. And we were there for a while and it was like late at night. I want to say it was like 1 a.m.
Could we drive?
No.
Did we get a boy to drive us?
Probably.
But what boy?
It's probably like Chase Rubin or like
JD.
VJ
maybe?
or JD. Yeah.
That doesn't sound right either. No, it's just us.
Yeah, because we got dropped off.
Did my brother drop us off and then pick us up later?
But why wouldn't he stay at Greens?
How did we get home? If they dropped us off, how did we get home?
I have so many questions. Anyway, we went to this like little burger joint and it was probably, I remember it being late. It was like 1 a.m.
My parents weren't home.
They weren't?
No.
How did we get to Greens? Did we walk?
Did we walk?
That's a long walk.
There's no way we walked.
But how did we get there then?
We didn't Uber.
No, Uber like wasn't a thing.
Could we drive at that point?
There's no way.
It was like you had the short blonde hair. No, because we walked around that day.
I know, because I couldn't drive until I was like 18 or 19.
I know I couldn't drive.
Yeah, no, we could not drive. I don't know how we got there. moving forward, we somehow ended up at this little burger joint with really, really crappy SFX on our arms made out of tissue paper, Elmer's glue, and, like, food coloring.
Yeah, and there's this older couple sitting at the other end of, like, the restaurant.
And I
like,
think they just got back from, like, a funeral or something. Because I remember them being in all black.
I thought they were, like, bikers.
No, they were dressed up.
They were?
Yes.
Why would you go to a funeral and then greens?
Because greens heals all.
You're right.
Anyway, we love false memories. But we got into this deep-ass conversation about, like, our school district.
Mm-hmm. And, like, where we're going in our lives. And you're like, I want to be a nurse.
I did not want to be a nurse at this time. False. I wanted to be an author.
Ooh.
Wink.
But we got in this deep conversation with this older couple. And they were, like, telling us to follow our dreams. And to, like, follow the special effects, too. Like, they're like, that makeup is so good. Like...
It was so not good. It was so bad.
We were, like, using the condensation of the glass to, like, keep the Elmer's glued.
Yeah, we were.
But
yeah.
like a burn victim scarring on our arms. Like, that's what we did.
And this was, like, the first time we ever did SFX.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I came over after that. And then I walked home with, like, black eyes, blood all over my face.
Because there was a reason.
In the middle of winter, too.
Yeah, there was a reason that you had to go home that night. Because you were supposed to spend the night and you had to, like, go home for something.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can walk back with you. And you were like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, and it was, like, a decent... It's not a long walk, but, like,
No.
people definitely saw me. In the middle of the winter, walking through snow.
With blood all over
blood
you.
all over.
And nobody stopped?
No.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know. They're probably like, I don't want to get into that. I was probably dancing on my way home, too, or some stupid shit.
And
Because
they're like, oh, she's fine.
that's just what it is. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, we don't care about anything. We go to paintball, and, like, everyone knows who we are. Because everyone is super serious where we go, which, I mean, understandably.
Yeah, like, they're wearing
it's like
fatigues.
a legit, like, it's a sport.
Yeah.
And then we're just over here
a combat
blasting Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl, jumping on top of the picnic tables.
Jumping off, like, when the bass hits. Like, headbanging. And they're all, like, very reserved, like, old white men, too.
Yeah.
So they're just sitting there watching us. Like, first off, it's not a sexist thing. Like, girls aren't usually there to play.
No.
In the first place.
No.
Like, they're there, like, for
We're,
their
like, the
husbands, for
only
their
girls.
boyfriends. Yeah,
Yeah.
that play. So, like, they're not used to it. And then they're just sitting there just like, what the fuck?
What is happening? And, like, we're not bad. Like, on the field, like, we're not bad.
No, like, we take off our mask and they're like, holy shit, those were girls the entire time.
Yes. And then they, like, see us headbanging and they're like, okay.
This makes sense. Something's wrong up
All
there.
right. They have issues. Got it.
They're not.
Cool.
They're not badass.
But, like, you're kind of cute.
They're
so I'm just
not.
confused.
They're not badass. They're just fucking stupid.
Exactly. They just don't give a fuck.
They just don't know better. Someone's got to teach them. It's not going to be me. I don't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to give them a lesson.
No, but honestly, I kind of like it because I feel like you need to find that friend that you can just, mentally pop a pill with.
Yeah.
And just, like, go off. Because I really feel like I've, obviously, with the whole guess how to spell my name thing, I've always been that, like, oddly too extroverted, talking to people at grocery stores type of person.
Yeah.
And I've never had a friend to, like, back me up on that. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's always like, Maddie, can you, like, shut the fuck up? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, like, I'm just trying to be friendly. And then I met you, and you were on the same exact wavelength, and I was like, let's fucking go!
And for me, like, the wavelength, like, it's not even like I'm extroverted. People just need to tell me every little thing about their life. And I'm like, cool. I remember this girl's first day at my old job. And I was like, hey, like, what's up? Like, my name's Haley or whatever. And she was like, oh, I'm blank. Like, nice to meet you. And I was like, so, like, how are you enjoying your first day? And she's like, it's really awesome. But my brother has to come in to pick up some drugs for me because the police are after him. And I don't want to get caught with his drugs.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Same dude that came in with the bat. And I just sat there and I was like, what? She's like, yeah, there's a warrant out for my brother's arrest. And it's just so stupid for right now. Like, stressful. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm like,
You're like,
I'm going to go.
okay.
I'm going to do my job.
I'm gonna go back to cleaning some shit. Damn.
She's like, also, my cramps are really fucking bad. So this is not great to deal with right now. And
You're like, me too. Honestly, same.
I was
That's one that I can relate with.
like, I just looked at her and I was like, I can't help with the cop thing.
But I got some
But
ibuprofen.
I have some ibuprofen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
That's so weird.
But honestly, I feel like music has been such a big part of our friendship, and that's why we have one of the resonating songs, like what song resonates with you questions.
Yeah.
Is because there is a ridiculous amount of videos out there on the internet of us headbanging and jamming in our cars.
Yeah, any
And-
red light, we will look over and there will be somebody with their phone pointed at us.
And
like,
it's so upsetting at the same time because that should be normalized. Like having your own concert, like in your car, like headbanging and singing.
we're like
should be
Hannah Montana.
Yeah, honestly.
Like if we were stopped in an expressway, I would get up and I would stand on my roof and I would sing
too.
to everybody.
I've done it.
See, this is why we're best friends. This is why.
And it sucks too because like you'll see that as like content on like YouTube or TikTok of people like singing in their cars and they're like, this is like the best song to like sing in your car to. Like I'm not one of those people that stop at a red light and turn it down. No, I turn that bitch up and make everybody uncomfortable. Cause
Yeah.
don't make me uncomfortable for enjoying my time in the safety of my own car.
Exactly. We're at a red light. I'm stopped. My foot is on the brake.
This is
I'm
my
gonna just
time.
jam a little bit, okay?
This is my
I'm
time
gonna sing.
to go off.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't do that safely while driving.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Bullshit.
Everyone else in my car can, but me, no.
No.
I'm gonna wait until
So-
I'm safely stopped.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take my hands off the wheel and I'm a fist bump, okay?
And I'm gonna go
I'ma
hard.
I'm gonna go. And as soon as the light turns green, 2 and 10,
10 and 2 and
and
Ease on the pedal.
slowly accelerate.
Yep.
Accelerate.
accelerate. Slowly
Accelerate.
accelerate. But Arizona, the trip was really our cementing of our friendship
Yeah.
because we always were friends. And then around junior years when we got closer,
Yeah.
and it was because we had
And I was in a toxic
that was a fun time. And I remember talking to you about that, and you're like, "Why is this bitch so straightforward about me needing to break up with them?" Like,
like, dang.
you could at least ease into it. Like, hey, I'm sorry this is happening to you.
No,
But
you're just like, you need to leave. You need to get out of this. But like, granted, like, I like it was toxic on both ends. Like,
Yeah.
we were both just like in it for bad reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, no, you were definitely the person that was like, yo, Maddie, like, this is bad. You should like stop.
I know I'm not your closest friend, but you need to get the fuck out.
Yeah. And then we literally went to Arizona, and then he broke up with me like right after I got
Mhm.
back.
Well, let's preface. So junior year we were friends with the same friend group, and then you became really good close friends with one of my really good close friends. So we started hanging out in a pair of 3,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like friends with my friend group. So we hung out in a friend group all the time, and then we started hanging out in groups of 3, and slowly the group just got smaller, and then the third girl kind of was always flaky on us.
Yeah, and like we'd already be together, like driving
Yeah,
around,
like,
ready
we'd
to
be
go to the plans that the 3 of us
Yeah.
had.
And it wasn't her fault either. Like, it
No.
was something that actually came up. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like flaky, like, oh, I don't feel like going out. Like, it was like, hey, it's going to be a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be type thing.
Yeah.
So then we just started hanging out
Yeah.
and just being like,
Like,
okay.
didn't mean to. It just happened.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, you're already kind of in my car.
You want to go get some Olgas?
Yeah, like, our plan, like, you want to go get food because I haven't eaten anything today.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really how it started. And then I remember dropping you off, and I'm like, it was senior year, and we've been hanging out for like a year-ish at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you were kind of one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
Because I don't create friendships easily, and
Mhm.
I don't know when I'm close or friends with somebody in the first place. Like, I
Yeah.
genuinely do not know.
See, and I think that at this point, you were like the first actual friend that I had other than my boyfriend. At the time.
Really?
Yeah, because like I was friends with all of his friends, and he didn't like that. But like I was in the friend group, and then like that's how him and I met.
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't like the fact that one, he didn't really like me talking to other people outside of his friend group, but he also didn't like me talking to people in the friend group. So he didn't.
He wasn't feeling you in the social life.
No, because he like didn't want me to like talk about. Anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, and then like I started hanging around you, and he like Didn't like
me.
it,
Not
yeah.
many of my friends' boyfriends like me. Like, at all.
yeah. Well, it's because like you're definitely the person that like calls shit out, and you're like, if something's bad, you'll tell them that it's bad and try to
Mhm.
get them out of it. Other than just the friends that are like, oh no, it's fine. He's just an asshole. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
No. I'm like, if he's an asshole, you could be happier without him
Exactly.
And asshole this city is.
Exactly. But that's like when we got super close, and then we went to Arizona, and I was like kind of nervous about it.
I also invited you because my mom was like, well, we can go to Arizona for your senior spring break, because I was really upset because I didn't have a spring break trip planned.
Yeah. And neither did I.
And I was like, hey, do you want to maybe go to Arizona for spring break with me and my mom and, like, maybe the other girl? But the other girl didn't really work out, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like, the three of us can go to spring break in Arizona. Like, we'd have our own, like, guest house type situation. And I remember explaining it to you, dropping you off randomly. And I was so freaking nervous to ask you to. Like, I felt like a girl that was, like, asking out.
Will you marry me?
Yeah. Like, because I literally thought you were going to be like, fuck no. Like, we're not friends. And I'd be like, I know, but, like, you're all I really
think
got
it'd be
right
fun.
now.
I think it'd be a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't just, that's it.
Well, no, and then I think that was also, like, kind of an indication that we're both, like, we literally almost drove to, like, Tennessee to drop off a chicken nugget to somebody.
Shout out to Chase and Will.
Like, what's up?
Hey, guys.
And
we're coming with that chicken nugget one day.
it was, like, the same kind of vibe, because you were, like, it was, like, a couple weeks away, too.
Yeah,
it, like,
it
wasn't...
was like a month. Like, the clock was ticking.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, bet. And you were
Mhm.
like, no, like, I'm being for real. And I'm like, no, like, I am also being for real.
I am also
We are
honestly
all dead ass.
being for real.
Yeah. Because that's the thing when people are like, you won't come, you won't do it. I'm like, no, like, I genuinely will. Like,
You're so used to people not doing it, not being like, not that it was a spontaneous trip because we're so quirky. It was just genuinely like, no, like, I know we're not I mean, you were my closest friend. Like, I saw you as that close level friendship.
yeah.
But you didn't see me as that. And I think I
Yeah.
kind of knew that. So I was also kind of like, I don't want it to be weird. But, like,
Yeah.
also, like, I enjoy spending, like, hanging out with you. And, like, you
Yeah.
are my closest friend. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Just
that
sad.
it was just weird because I think that this is when, like, the whole vulnerability thing came in, because I feel like you don't see a close friendship, you don't see vulnerability as something that has to go into that close friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And with me and my, like, empathic, like, wanting to get to know you and, like, your brain and everything inside you, like,
Mm-hmm.
that came out weird, but, like, I see vulnerability as, like, check box number 1 of, like, we are close. And I don't think that you and I ever had that connection yet. In Arizona's when we had that, and I feel like that's why I was more solidified in our friendship after Arizona, because we got more vulnerable, and, like, this is when, like, I explained to you, like, all my family stuff, and, like, we lived together for the first time for, like, 2 weeks.
Also, Arizona, we took off an extra week of school to stay 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we went a week on spring break. So it was our senior year spring break trip. And then we took a week, like 3 days off before and 2 days off after spring break.
Yeah.
So we were there for 2 weeks, which is a long time. And we had our own house together.
We really did. It was so much fun.
And, like, we bought groceries. Like, we got food together. Like,
We had a pet whale.
Yeah.
Or a shark.
it was a shark. And, like, that was probably when I knew the trip was going to be okay, was that we went to the store the first day, like the first 5 minutes we got there, because we got there at like 10 a.m. the first day.
Mhm.
And we were walking up, and we both grabbed an inflatable shark.
No, I think we both I grabbed the whale, you grabbed the shark, and then we realized that we could not fit both in the car.
So we had to pick one, and we picked the shark. And that's what we brought back our first day instead of, like, food.
Yeah. We had, like, some groceries. We had, like, orange juice and, like, maybe some hot dogs and,
we
like,
were
a
this
shark.
is great. This is great.
It's a great day off.
Because our budget was like $40 for food for like the first 3 days or something like that, or more than that, and 15 of it went towards that shark.
Yeah, because that's how we prioritize things in our friendship.
Yep.
Eating, nah. Shark, yes.
And then we took an entire photo shoot, which I've never taken a like that dramatic of a photo shoot ever in my life. That is the only time I've ever taken a photo shoot in my life, was when we got in this cold ass pool
With a shark.
with an inflatable shark and tried to jokingly take like a sexy photo shoot, and then it worked out. Mind blown. It was like that. Those photos are high key good as fuck.
Yeah, no, those are the best
But we were
photos
trying-
that I have of myself. That's also like 3 years ago now, so I can't use them for anything. I think when I had a Tinder, one of those photos was like my Tinder picture.
Also, it's my contact photo on your phone and your friend, like your roommate's phone. So when we were in a group text together, and she sent a photo of all of our contact names, like how, because we all had funny names for each other in this group chat of all you and your friends. That contact photo
Of you riding the shark.
is in that group chat.
You're welcome.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that photo. And then I realized I brought attention to it.
You are so welcome.
I've never met that friend group, and they all have that photo of me riding a bull shark in a bikini. It's not cute.
You're so welcome.
But that like cemented our friendship, and from there, like we still talk about that trip to this day, and
All
our
the time.
friends get irritated with us talking about that trip.
Yeah. But it was so great. And also, literally the entire time, so I flew and I was like a little congested. Warning, never fly when you're congested. Take an airborne, take acetaminophen, do something. Because if you get off that plane and your ears don't pop, it is the worst experience and the worst pain that you could ever go through that I've experienced. I don't know, there's probably worse pain out there, like losing your leg would kind of suck.
Or childbirth.
Yeah, childbirth. Oh yeah, that would fucking suck. But that's your little PSA for the day. So I had a raging ear infection. My ear was dripping fluid. Like onto my shoulder, like the entire time. I've never felt worse pain in my life. I was drugged up. Literally, your mom just kept handing me pills, and I was like, all right, bet. Like,
She's like, this will do for this, this will do for this, this will do for this. And you're like, isn't this supposed to be all for the same thing? Like, to just decongest me. And she's like, this is for your headache, this is for your sore throat, this is for your ear, this is for your mind, this is for your soul. And this.
and then just smoke this.
And here's the spoon.
Snort this. Literally.
Do you need a lighter, honey, or did you bring your own?
I got some needles in the back of the car. No, but
just act normal when we go through the security checkpoint. Thank you.
How did she get all those drugs on the plane?
I don't know.
No, because it was like a big tote.
I know. It was like a pill bottle.
Like she literally had something for everything.
Okay, just
because it's not like we prepared for me to have a raging ear infection.
My family is doctors. Like my grandmother's a PA. Like my mom, like was like the family. They all studied nursing. Like there's like so like we're prepared for anything. Like we are a pharmacy.
Yeah.
Because.
But how did you get it on? How did she get it on the plane?
I don't know. You had to have a prescription for that shit. Like.
Anyway, so, but like, regardless of how painful this trip was for me, all I can remember is the good times.
The good times. Yeah.
And like, that's how you know, bitch.
Yes.
That's how you know.
Remember when we went down to like this old western town?
Oh my God, yeah, I do.
And my mom made us take this picture with this legitimate hobo who just had a sparkly bracelets up his arms. Like he had multiple, it was like silly bands. But just sparkly bracelets.
And like little like tambourine things on his fingers.
And she's like, just to take this picture with him. It's going to be so great. And he
smelled so weird.
and he was like, I love my job. And then like did a
he was like shaking, like shimmying, like putting his arms around it
with
like,
the fucking
I
tambourine.
love my job.
I love my life.
As we're just
And we're underage and like not looking good. And he's just hands around us with finger tapping these little tambourines. I literally want to I'm going to find this photo and I want to make an Instagram just to post this photo somewhere.
It's so bad. Meanwhile, my ears are dripping.
I'm like constantly vlogging.
Yes.
For no reason, but there was a reason, but
it never happened.
It never happened. Well,
but yeah, like our trips together, I feel like are just like very big moments of us like getting to know each other. Like my first time going up to your cottage in the UP was literally the most spiritually like enlightening trip ever.
Love that.
Because there's no reception. You go up there and it's
such a disconnect.
Yeah, and you respect the land, you respect the people that you're with, and it's like it's just so peaceful.
Literally, like you come back downstate and you're like, what the fuck is this piece of trash doing on my lawn?
Literally.
Like, you want to leave every place you go to nature-wise better than you found it when you go up there.
Which is an amazing thing, and like I'm so grateful that, because I also think that the first trip that I took up there was when I understood your family, because I went to your family farm and I heard the stories about your history, and like I don't have any family history. I mean, I'm sure I do, but I don't know about it. So it was so cool to like learn about like your grandparents and like the shed that burnt down and all of these just nice little family stories that
Coke
like
bottle on top of the tower.
exactly.
My crazy Uncle Ed climbed this like 20-foot tall church. Maybe it was a lot more than 20 feet. It's like a 3-story church. Got to the top, drank a Coke, and then put a glass bottle on top of the pillar, and then climbed down like it was nothing. And then that Coke bottle stayed there for 40 years, and then finally they got like a new reinstated like mayor or something, like a new reinstated like township person, and they took the Coke bottle down and they divided the entire town with that Coke bottle. Because they're like, no, like that's Ed's Coke bottle, like put it back up. They were pissed. I'm talking like the older generation was fighting the new generations
that's so
on this
funny.
Coke bottle.
Yeah. But like that's just like the kind of town that it is, and being able to be a part of that and like see that was incredible. And I think that this is when your family started seeing me as a part of the family rather than like just a friend. You know what I mean? Because like we're at a point now where when we quarantined, I quarantined with Haley's family for 3 months. I lived with her for 3 months and her dad, and I don't know, it was just it was just, I feel like that's when I saw you at your most vulnerable, because it was when I got to understand why you are the way that you are. We went up north and I realized why. That, and like when I met your friends from Florida, from when you lived in Florida, and I saw where you grew up, like I feel like the trips that we take, it just really reinstates who you are as a person, because like you can walk around our city that we live in now and you can see why I am the way that I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just feel like the places that you go definitely shapes who you are, and I think it was very interesting for me to see all those sides of where you came from. And I remember we were sitting at the inn, which is like also a restaurant, and it's the one place that you can get Wi-Fi and like actually have service. And we were sitting at this inn and you were trying to get into college.
I had to, because in my first year I went to a school in West Virginia, and I had to send my physical in, but I couldn't get a hold of my physical because I needed to tell them about my insurance card and everything, and like send my insurance card and have my parent's signature. Basically, I did everything to be a student athlete for the fall season, and I could not get my mom to sign off on something. For some reason. I don't remember what it was. And I was sitting there, and the minutes were ticking down of when I had to do it, and I was trying to get my mom to sign this document for like 2 months. And she went upstate a separate time. We went upstate. So she was already there for like a few days, so I didn't even see her. So finally, we're sitting at this inn with Wi-Fi, and I'm like begging my mom to sign this form.
And it was like busy too. It was popping.
And like I remember the waitress coming over and just being like, I'm almost in tears because I'm so frustrated with, because like it's looking like if I don't get this in for the next hour, I'm not playing.
You're not.
And I'm like
to college.
scrambling to get everything together. Like I'm calling the doctors, trying to get my physical. Like I had to fight to get my insurance card. Luckily, somewhere a long time ago, I took a picture of my insurance card and like had it in my camera roll from years ago. And the waitress comes over.
When you still had insurance.
Yes. I have it again. Chill. And the waitress comes over and she's like, honey, I'm so sorry. Like, you're gonna be okay. And I remember her giving me like a table and like food too. Like it was not good.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, hi.
You're like, I don't know what to do. I've known her for so long, and she's just.
But this is the first time that I think that you ever like shed a tear in front of me. And that's the thing, is we were friends for a while at this point.
And we went through a lot prior to this too.
Like we went through a lot, like with Bella, our friend, passing away. We went through a lot, like with my family and like my own situation and like your family and your own situations. And I think that this was just like a boiling point where I just kind of saw a part of you break, because you're like, everything that I've been working for the past however many years, going to college, getting into this, having a scholarship,
putting all these hours in, and I'm not even gonna be able to play.
And putting in so much effort and like trying to get your mom to do it, and it's just like not working. And then I remember like she showed up and everything ended up being fine. But I think that this is when I like saw your family for like, especially after learning about the history and being on the land and staying with you and watching. There's just something about the sunsets up there
that self concept, like self realization, self reflecting, everything self.
Yeah.
Like, you feel at one with everything when the sun sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I remember literally, because it's not even that I think one of the reasons that I, like, broke at that point was because I wasn't even, like, I was, like, just sitting, like, I remember looking at you, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but you're about to see me have a full fucking mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Was because it wasn't even...
It was a straw that broke the camel's back.
And it wasn't even, like, it was a big deal, but I knew it was coming, too. Like,
Yeah.
I saw it coming, and I did everything to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Everything to prepare for it. And I think I saw things in the future coming, too, later that week, and I was like, this is just the most, like, why can't anybody help me on this one thing?
I feel like it allowed you to be, like, to, like, relax those walls down a little more.
Yeah,
You're like,
definitely.
okay, she gets it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like... And again, this is why I kind of feel like this is when I started becoming seen as somebody who's a part of your family, because it's like, your family stopped trying to pretend in front of me.
100%.
You know?
Yeah,
it
or
was
give
just
the
like,
family
this
vibe
is
and
what it
everything.
is.
And I think something that you also saw, like, to bring back a hard time that we went through together, even, like, with Bella, our friend that passed our junior year of high school, we were both really close with and growing up. That was a time with each other that, like, I think we really bonded, and we knew we were going to be friends for a while.
Yeah.
Because we were already friendly and, like, getting closer.
Yeah.
But it was a different type of emotional gathering where I feel like everybody in that group, even though, like, we don't talk or we do talk, but, like, we'll all still be there for each other.
Yeah, 100%. Doesn't matter what happens.
And in that time, I didn't really, like, I made a few notes on that moment. That was probably the hardest I've ever been on myself emotionally.
When Bella passed away?
Because, like, and when I mean emotionally, I mean for my lack of emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't cry about it. Like, I physically could not make myself cry about it. I physically could not. I couldn't even attach myself to any emotion in that time. And I think I was really scared because one of the reasons that I was always so, like, don't be vulnerable, like, don't do this, don't do that, is I grew up with boys, so I got that emotional attachment that I think most boys have, where you have to stay strong, because I was just grouped in with the 4 brothers that I was growing up with. And I remember being taken into the counseling office, and the counselor just sitting there trying to tell me that it was okay to, like, let go, and it was okay to cry, and then I needed to get this emotion out, because I think they were seeing everybody during the funeral and stuff. And everybody kept coming up to me being like, hey, can you take me, like, to the casket? Like, can you take me and, like, come with me to the viewing? Because
be the strong friend.
Can you be the strong friend? Can you do this for me? Like, can I sit there and cry on your shoulder? And I was always like, of course, because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And then I literally remember sitting there as I was in the counseling office, and them, like, trying to get me, like, force me open and trying to talk to me and trying to tell me how to feel. And I literally looked at them, I'm like, I physically cannot do this. Like, my throat is closing up. Like, I cannot breathe. And it's not anxiety. It's that I genuinely don't want to. So stop trying to make it happen.
Yeah. And I feel like that's, like, something that I tried to do when we became friends, is I never tried to force you to open up. Because that's something that I understand, especially through the Bella situation. Because people would come up to me, even though, like, we weren't even that close at the time. They'd be like, what's wrong with Haley? Like, what's going on?
Really?
And yeah. And I think something that I kind of understand because of my own shit and whatnot is, like, looking back now, you're probably disassociating during that time. You just don't feel anything. You can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether, and it may not be the same thing as, like, the type of disassociation I feel, but it is the inability to feel things. And that is actually a very common form of grief. And the more people try to force you to feel something, you can't. It's the way that your body's processing the overload of stress by just not feeling shit. And it's not that you're not sad, it's not that you're not angry or upset or doing all of this, but it's like, when you have too much stress, your body's just like, all right, so we're not going to feel anything. And, like, that is normal. And I feel like that's kind of how you've coped with a lot of stress up until recently. Even, you probably still do it a little bit now. And, like, that is okay, that is normal. And I think that trying to force people into a box, or force people to open up, or force people to break down their walls and cry, like, you're not going to get anywhere. And I feel like that's something that I really appreciate, and I think that it kind of makes me a good friend. Like, out and say it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people who have vulnerability issues open up around me because I don't force them to.
Yeah, and I believe that. I think that's something that I also learned because at this time with Bella and everything, I honestly thought that, like, I was sitting there in the counseling office trying them to pry me open, and they were like, it's okay. I'm like, dude, I don't think you understand. I know what's going on. I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that I lost a friend. I'm upset that she felt that sadness and that darkness in her that strongly.
Yeah.
To feel like that was her only option out.
And feel like she was alone. And, like,
that's what I'm upset about.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about my feelings right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hurt that that's what she thought.
Yeah.
And felt.
Yeah.
Even though she knew logically how much love she had around. And I also was sitting there and I was like, I must be a psychopath if I don't feel anything right now.
No.
Like, if I don't.
Feelings and emotions and the way that people react to things are so, like, that whole situation and every situation that I felt like that, like, it still impacts me every single fucking day. Like, it does. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I love this podcast so much, because that's a bad experience. But, like, anytime I've felt that way twice in my life, once when I was like 14, 15, and once more recently. And, like, it just makes me so fucking happy to be here. Like, I truly think, and this is something that I felt when I was like 14 or 15, I was that low, and I told myself that if I fucking got up, then I would go through all the pain, I would go through everything, it wouldn't fucking matter. Literally got a tattoo dedicated to this fucking strength. And, like, it doesn't matter how rough shit gets, I will fucking go through it, and I will grow from it, and I'm choosing to wake up every morning that I do.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that when I went through this experience more as, like, an adult, and they were very, not saying that I wasn't feeling real emotions when I was younger, but, like, depression when you're a kid and depression as an adult are two completely different things, because, like, the thing that made me break this time was the fact that I felt like I had no comfort, and I felt like I had nobody that I could go to without bad intentions. And, like, it is still something that I'm dealing with and I'm processing. And I've kind of realized that I need to get to know myself and love myself in order to feel comfort from other people. So I'm not working on my trust issues right now. I'm working on loving myself.
Yeah.
And it's working really well.
That is for sure something that I've seen you grow from when we were friends, was you are doing your best to be alone right now.
Yeah.
And I've never seen you put that much effort into being alone.
Yeah. You
grow with, and, like, I see, like, that spark of, like, when we first not met, but, like, when we were, like, in Arizona and we were quote unquote alone. Like, I see that I am self-confident and I can do this. Like, I have your self-concept of spark is coming back.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. And I think that when you were at your lowest, that's also when I saw you grow the most, because I know how hard it was for you to come over to my house and have to see me when you thought that I hated you. Yeah. And I also remember, like, reading the text that I was sending you, and I was like, can we call? Can we do this? Like, I think what I'm saying is getting misconstrued, and I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. Like, I was reading through the text, and I was like, how am I being defensive right now? Like, what's going on? Yeah. And that's when I saw you grow, was me telling you to come home, and then you finally being like, all right, I'm on my way. Yeah. And I remember tracking you all the way home. I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, all right.
Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at?
Yeah. And and then we sat and we talked about it. Yeah. And I remember, like, just seeing you, like, completely, like, I don't even think you broke down, and that's what kind of scared me. Like, I didn't see you, like, sit there panic and hyperventilating when, like, you did, like, when you break up. Was not that you hyperventilate and panic, but you know what I mean. I didn't see you have that emotional.
It wasn't an emotional thing,
and that's when I was like,
fuck, she's fucked up right now.
Yo, emotional friend.
Like, what's going on?
Right brain. What's going on?
You okay in there? Like, yeah, well, and I think that, and obviously I believe that everything happens for a reason. Like, if you know me, everything bad that's ever happened to me in my life, I fucking wear it with pride. Genuinely. Like, I do. And, like, that's why I am so okay with feeling vulnerable. And it's, you know, I feel like having trust issues and being vulnerable are two kind of different things. Yeah. because I understand that every bad thing that I go through is a part of who I am, and like if I can grow from it, and this is something that I realized during quarantine, like I used to have a reason for all my pain, and it's less of me having to have a reason and more just acknowledging how it has impacted me. If that when like we were apart for a year, I think that what I learned the most was like how to have my own back and and obviously I wasn't good at it by any means, and it's been a very, honestly, ever since I broke up with my high school boyfriend up until this point, I've been working on the same shit. And like I have, obviously there's ups and downs to everything. But I think that everything that's happened from then to now in discovering myself and feeling things and being alone and being comfortable with like getting to know different sides of myself and not being afraid by that, I think that everything has been super purposeful from those low moments. And I don't know, like I think because like obviously you have always been my rock, and I think that when you left for a year, I almost had to be like, all right, well, I gotta make new friends, I gotta like get up, I have to be alone, you know what I mean? Like I still had a boyfriend that I was like kind of using as a crutch at the time, and I feel like especially after I lost him, or I didn't lose him, but when we broke up and you just came back, and then the family thing happened where I feel like I lost somebody who's always been my biggest supporter and my biggest rock, which again, I didn't lose. But I feel like I lost everyone that's ever given me comfort. So I feel like that bad situation almost kickstarted me being like, okay, I can be alone and it will be okay. You know?
What do you think was your biggest obstacle in those situations of mine, whether emotionally and logically? Like, what were your biggest obstacles?
Feeling like nobody gave a shit about me, and feeling like, because that's my thing, is when I am going through something bad, I will immediately reach out and I'll be like, hi, I need help right now. I know I need help. Please help me, whatever. And if I get shot down, it's like, okay, fuck it. I tried seeking help. I tried getting support. I went to the damn fucking therapy session. I did what I could. Nobody gives a fuck about me. Nobody cares. Therefore, I'm like worthless. And like that is such a quick like mental thing, because in my head I'm like, I tried. I did my best. I reached out. Nobody cared. Therefore, they don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like they don't care, but it was a very hard situation. Like when you're dealing with someone that is that low, it's very hard to help them and to know what they need and know what they're going through. And especially when I can't verbalize what I need, I now realize like everyone that I went to were doing their best to fucking help me. It's not that they don't care. It's just like when I'm already in my own mind, it is very misconstrued, and it's almost like miscommunication within myself. And I think that's like the hardest obstacle that I had was I thought that I reached out. I thought that I did what I wanted. And then that was like my justification for saying that people didn't give a fuck about me, for saying that I could leave and no one would care. And because I was so focused on the shit that I was going through, I was a really bad friend to them. And I've apologized a lot since then, but it's like I was being very insensitive to them going through some fucked up shit, and I was just expecting them to drop everything and be there for me. And that's not life. And I think that's why I like got through it, because I started holding myself accountable for the situation. And I was like, life has to fucking go on. Like, people can't just drop everything and be there for me in the way that I need and sit there and fucking just wait. People can't wait. Life goes on. Their lives are going on.
Yeah, you're not the main character of every movie. And
Exactly.
You're not even the main character.
Exactly.
In your own life.
Yeah. And I think that's when I stopped caring about, not that I stopped caring about, like, what other people think and, like, having other people support me, because I know the people that support me. They did at that time. It's just more of a Again, it was a miscommunication with myself that I realized, and then I fell on my sword and I started holding myself personally accountable to who I am.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about for this podcast for you, is I'm really excited that you're going to have this time to say things out loud in your brain and self-reflect. And then it's going to keep you from disassociating with your emotions, because I think your emotions are such a strong point of you.
Yeah.
That's something that you taught me, was that emotions are not something that stops you, but something that you can pull from to motivate you.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think I've ever really, like, yes, there's the whole vulnerability, but, like, you showed me that, like, that emotion is how you create such a strong bond with somebody.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I ever had, I've had close friends, yes, but I've never had, like, that emotional bond with somebody, whether it was friendship, whatever, relationship. And you were the first person that I really, like, that whole breakdown in front of, first person I ever shared, like, how my mind works. Like, genuinely, like, I sat there and I was like, no, this is what I think about this, this, and this. This is what I think about this. Like, I would share things with you without asking, because I'm a very open book, like, if you were to ask me a question. However, I'm not going to give you information that you didn't ask for.
Yeah.
Like, if it's kind of like if I was getting this is a very bad example, but if I'm getting interrogated by the police on a situation, so let's say you're at a party, a guy, like, threw himself through a wall, and the parents of the person at the party is now, like, trying to call property damage, and the police officer was like, well, what happened Friday night? I'd be like, well, there was a party at so-and-so's house, and a guy threw himself through a wall.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't give the information of, yeah, we were drinking. I wouldn't give the information of, it was at this time, even though if I was there. I wouldn't give the information of, well, I'm pretty sure that some guy said this to him, some guy said that to him, and then he did it. Like, I think it was a dare. Like, I wouldn't give that information.
But that's almost good. And I think that's something that I learned from you, because I really, really think that the reason why I am such a more logical person and why I can rationalize, because I do have a lot of emotions, but I can almost rationalize and put them in different categories to where they're easily accessible. I can draw on, I see my emotions now as, okay, I'm feeling this, what is my body trying to tell me? And it's not just letting them fucking go off, me being a bitch, me doing whatever, and acting on my emotions. I don't act on my emotions. I look at them, I see them from my perspective, and I'm like, all right, what is happening? Like, why do I feel this way? And I feel like you, like, being a more logical person has rubbed off on me, and it has made me a much more well-rounded, understanding, logical person. And I think that the whole, like, party thing, like, that is how you should function. Not with everything in your life, but if the cop calls you, I mean, like, this is not on record, but, like, you should never give somebody more information than they need.
Yeah, and if you want to get to know me on that level, like, you're gonna have to ask me those specifics. Like, I'm never gonna just out and give somebody everything, even if it sounds like I'm opening up to you. Like, I think that's something that I've noticed with myself when I moved away and I had my year at college and our year apart. We say like we're an old couple.
When we were apart for a year.
I realized that I really do make it, like, I found a way to, I don't want to say manipulate, but make it sound like I was opening up to somebody.
Yeah.
Without actually opening up.
Yeah.
Like, I will give you the bare minimum and make it sound like it's the in-depth detail. And I think the one person that ever called me out, and this is why I grew so much when I was away, was my friend. Like, my best friend, Will. I opened up on a part of myself, and I didn't, here at school and everything, like, I had such a hard exterior wall that everybody saw. Even if that wall was completely down, I still made it into a way that people saw that wall was up.
Yeah.
And they're like, everybody had to, like, people had to figure out a new way to decipher me and a new way to talk to me, and I could be somebody else without having those, I could go outside my character laws.
Yeah.
And who I was.
And once you know somebody for a while, you put them in a box and you feel like you have them figured out.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that box yet.
Yeah, and
so it gave you time to, like, experiment and get to know who you are instead of just abiding by those.
Yeah, and I remember, like, calling you, and you would say things about, like, a story that happened with us, like, about something, and they'd be like, what? And you're like, Haley, you're holding out the tea. What the heck? Like, how have you not told them this? And I'm like, I never wanted them to know. Like,
exactly.
I was definitely two different people.
Yeah.
There I was a lot more, I was seen as a pushover instead of, like, a hard ass or like a person, and that was a pushover. I just realized that I did not give a fuck about how that was going.
But I think that's almost how you've grown and how you will continue to grow. Is I feel like you logically rationalize people in, like, a different way, and I'm really excited to see how, like, because you are such a highly logical person, how you interact with different people that have different mindsets, because obviously you interact with me great, like, and I started off as a very, very, very emotionally, like, all over the place, like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life person, and you're like, all right, well, let's take this one step at a time, you know what I mean? Like, let's actually analyze what's happening in your brain, which is such a beneficial thing for me, and, like, I hope I've done something similar with you and emotions. But I think that this podcast is going to be really good for you to just, like, see how other people work and be able to break them down in a more, this is why you are the way that you are.
I always saw you as, I thought it was so fascinating to me. And I'm not being, like, dramatic, that you were so easy to open up to people.
Yeah.
Like,
Which I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like doing that anymore.
Well, no, like, not even that. Like, you do like doing that, but in a different way. Like, you've evolved in how you open up to people. But I mean, like, when we would go to parties or whatever, like, you would immediately just start opening up, telling people all the tea, like, and not in a bad way. Like, I'm not talking, like, in an overbearing, like, oh, you like this dress? Yeah, so let me tell you about my family problems. Like, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you would always somehow, like, that's how you would show that you were open and comfortable with somebody.
Yeah.
While I always did it, like, if I was more comfortable with you, I would have more walls up, which was the complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting. And then over time, as we became friends, like, when we were in Arizona, like, I was so excited when we did that karaoke thing together.
There was, like, a children's karaoke thing. And
like,
we genuinely
for kids.
Yes.
And then, like, one mom sang a beautiful rendition of I Will Always Love You.
Yes.
Like, beautiful. Like, I'm pretty sure she was a singer.
Yeah.
And she hit every note and had a beautiful vibrato. And then there's us signing up right after her.
And, like, I had a raging ear infection at this time. So I straight up could not hear out of one of my ears. Everything was ringing. And we just sang the entirety of Bohemian Rhapsody with, like, dance moves, going back and
we
forth.
harmonized terribly.
It was like we had prepared this, and we waited for Haley's grandpa to come up, who's Finnish as fuck, and, like, does not want to be, like, around loud, obnoxious people.
Yeah, it, like, removes himself from social, like, Finnish people don't have social anxiety. They are it. Like, they spread that shit.
Yeah.
And he just comes walking up to his granddaughter and her best friend.
Like, on the ground, like, air guitar. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me, like, go.
Yeah. I had the high parts, you had the low parts, and then we would switch.
It was so bad. It was so bad. And, like, all of the kids are just looking at us like...
Nobody is, like, cheering us on.
I think there was, like, one dad in the background that was just, like, slightly headbanging.
Literally, nobody was giving us anything to work with. We were like...
we didn't care. The DJ was confused. Everyone was just confused.
We were like, you know it.
We're, like, trying to rile up this crowd.
Of 7-year-olds. Just sitting there watching us.
And this was, like, before the movie Bohemian Rhapsody even came out.
This was a year before it.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't even in the makes. Like, they weren't even recording it. Like, Queen was not back yet.
No. And it's just us. And all the parents are probably just like, how do they know this? What is happening?
No,
are they Benjamin Button? Like, what is happening?
Like, they thought, like, I remember signing up, and the guy was like, oh, like, you guys want to do, like, a duet or whatever? They're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And the guy was like, we're like, do you have this song? And he was like, yeah, do you guys know it? And we were like, yeah.
We know every word and the instrumental parts. I'll take guitar, Haley's singing.
We're at this karaoke for children, and they're giving us nothing to work with. We were like, you know, like, we'll sing this part, you'll sing, like, we were trying to get them to sing the chorus.
Mamma mia! Mamma mia!
Galileo! We're, like, pointing to them.
Yes, that's what it was.
Nothing. And you know those, like, comedic, like, humorous moments, like, when this happens at, like, children's, like, birthday parties and all the children are just, like, jaw dropped, like, scared? That was them.
Yep.
And my grandpa's just sitting there. And we're, like, shouting him out. We're like, that's my grandpa! That's my mom!
Hi, Mom!
Mom! And oh, shoot, I dropped the mic. And I remember as we were leaving, this, like, legitimate fucking biker gang. Like, not, like, just like guys, no, like I'm talking tattoos on the forehead type of biker gang. And they were like, "Can I get your autograph?" That was awesome.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes. We were like, thank you. Thank you. Somebody appreciates art.
And we screamed that like to the kids because I thought the parents would be like, "Fuck yeah!" No,
I do think that
parents
there
were
was.
not
I think
there
that
for
there was one like dad in the background that was just like
that was the
slowly
biker
nodding.
guy.
It was.
Yes.
Oh my god.
They stopped and they watched, and this is like a giant complex. Too.
Yeah,
like,
no,
we were
like in the middle of this big thing. Like there were people on the balcony, like on
Watching
at
us.
stores, just watching.
How did nobody? Oh, God.
And I feel like this just like set up like us being at paintball.
And
like
also, we had so much coffee before that.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember how much coffee? We had like one large coffee, but it was like all espresso. Like the woman was like, "It's just like it's our strongest drink. Like it's a lot of espresso." And we're like,
bet,
"Bring it on,
bet,
bring it on!
I want to feel it in my bloodstream.
Give me an IV."
Just don't look at my track marks. It's fine.
So that's the start of us not giving a fuck about what people think of
Yes.
us. Because I've never been with somebody and like hung out with somebody that was as crackhead level energy as me. Like I've
Yeah.
always been like, I don't care, whatever, smart ass, whatever. Like, but I've never like, but everybody's always been like, why do you want to do that? Like I've never been with somebody because you made me like almost forget
Mm-hmm. That it wasn't socially acceptable.
that wasn't socially acceptable.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have been screaming Bohemian Rhapsody to 2-year-olds, you know?
Yeah.
They were like 2 to 5-year-olds.
I know.
They were young.
Yeah.
The oldest kid there was probably 10,
Yeah.
not including like older siblings, and they weren't there for it.
Yep.
But
I am very much like this is me. This is what I am. If
and
you don't like it, I
never
don't really
did it
care.
For specifically, like there were times where I was like, is she doing this for attention? Like, why is she whatever? No, like you genuinely did it because you did not care, and
Yeah.
I felt like that's what I was finally excited to like become friends with somebody and
Yeah.
be like, let's go to Arizona, let's do
Yeah.
this. And I think it's very interesting because now you are still an open book,
Yeah.
but you have turned to a different chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But the chapter is no longer you explaining everything on like because you will like explain everything, but
Yeah.
you become very more precise about the words that you use.
Yeah.
So it's now a conversation and you get other people to get deep with you instead of you just getting deep with one person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So you are now
I'm a lot more selective with the energy.
Yeah.
And just like I try to be very intense.
You're questioning your intentions instead of following blindly towards other people's words.
Yeah.
And I've never not that I never thought you had to do that, but I remember like there were times where I would sit there and you'd be like, let's go do this. I'm like, no.
Why would we do that?
Why would we go skydiving without a parachute?
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
Maddie, no. You're like, no, like they said it'd be fine. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
They're like, but like they're little wing things. I'm like,
It's not a parachute, Maddie.
that's not a you know, they like they start with the wing bodysuits, right? Like the flying squirrel bodysuits, and then they parachute the rest of the way.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I've seen you grow in. Like that has been my impression. And there were times where I was like, wow, she's really got to get it going. But then
Yeah.
you would surprise me and like the next second and hi, Brooke. Our levels of what we need to work on are completely opposite. And like all of a sudden, like we're changing in what we need to work on now.
Yeah.
And we have like each other's levels that we are working on. And
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
No, and it's really cool because like the things that like you're becoming more vulnerable. I'm toning back, or not even toning back, but I'm changing the way that I am vulnerable.
Yeah.
So we're just like two gears that are like weirdly like turning in unison, but also opposite.
Yeah. Like I'm becoming you in 5th grade and you're becoming me in 5th grade.
Yes, literally.
We're not growing.
We're going back into the
changing.
emo phase.
That's right. Falling in reverse. Here we come.
Ghost Town, we're coming for you.
Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid dyed hair?
Fuck yeah. I'm about to get a feather. It's gonna be great.
Plan. Falling in reverse. Wait, no, they're kind of controversial. Ghost Town. Setting it off. Kool-Aid box dye. But like not even box dye, but just Kool-Aid. And
Yes.
a garden hose.
Bet. I'm done.
I'll see you Tuesday.
I'll see you Tuesday. Bet.